welcome back to my channel. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Angey Lee. Welcome to my kitchen. So today, as you can tell from the title, we are cooking chicken Alfredo completely from scratch. So as you saw in the ingredients, I will show them here. There's not a whole lot required, and every single ingredient you see here is optional except for the onion, the chicken, of course, if you want it to be chicken, and oil. You need the eggs, you need the flour, and you need a bit of water. So those are your absolute necessity ingredients. Now you're going to want some salt and pepper and some spices to spice it up whatever way that you want. You can use the spices that I've chosen if you want. So yeah, without further ado, let's just jump into it. That is annoying. I need a better tripod. My tripod is sliding very badly. So there we go. Okay. Hold on a sec while we take care of some technical difficulties here. Here we go. No more sliding tripod. Okay, so why did I touch my hair? First thing you start with is washing your hands, and every time you touch your hair, your face, anything that's not something that you're working with, you gotta wash your hands again. For at least 15 seconds, 30 is better, 2 minutes is the best. Okay, so the first thing we're going to start with, which is absolutely optional, is garlic butter. So I'm just going to start heating up. I've got a little bit of butter in a pan. I'm just going to start heating it up, and when it's warm, we're going to add a little bit of garlic. I'm going to add just a little bit of garlic powder, salt and pepper, and just a tiny bit of parsley, just for a tiny bit of flavor and some greenery. So that'll be in the garlic butter once that's ready to go. Second thing we're going to start with is the sauce. Pasta takes a long time to cook, but the sauce can sit and simmer while it's cooking. So this is olive oil. You can use any kind of oil that you have. Of course, olive oil is the best. This is an extra virgin olive oil. It's not expensive. It's just Walmart brand. You need a fair amount in them because what you're making is a roux. So you're gonna need quite a bit in there. Basically enough to cover the bottom of your pan completely. I will show you what that looks like. Now I've got that turned on to medium. There's times that you'll see cuts where you'll see that I'm probably washing my hands. So I'm not gonna film every time that I'm washing my hands a lot. Like, I need a lot of lotion. It's craziness. So that's got to heat up. Get a spoon ready for it. We're just going to put some flour in a bowl. We're going to use this bowl of flour both for the roux and for when we go and make our pasta noodles. Yes, our pasta noodles are completely from scratch. Everything is from scratch. Completely. 100%. Hundo P. Man, Hundo P. So you want this to be warm, quite warm. A great way to test it is if you get just a touch of water, and I'll show you. So that's not quite sizzling. When it's warm enough, that will sizzle. So we'll check back in when that happens. Do you hear that? Let me show you. Take a little tiny bit of water in your fingers, not a lot, just a couple drips. Toss it in your pan, and it'll sizzle. When that happens, it's ready to add your onions. So this goes in. All of our onion. And we're gonna stir that pretty much constantly. Garlic butter's spitting at me. I gotta turn it down. The garlic butter, I put about 3/4 of a teaspoon of the garlic in there. Turned it down to low, and I'm just stirring it up. So we don't want the garlic to get burnt onto the bottom. Same with the onions. Just gonna turn the onions down to about medium, between low and medium. The onions are getting just a little bit too cooked. We want them to be translucent, not overly cooked. And we're going to add some garlic to this. Just the minced garlic, or garlic chunks, or fresh garlic, or whatever kind of garlic you got. Even if it's garlic powder, any kind of garlic. So our onions are, about half translucent, I would say. So we're going to add some flour to this. I don't even know how much flour I just added. Maybe about an 1/8 of a cup. Whisk. Now it'll be nice and thick like that. Not burning. If it's burning, you've got to turn it down. Now I've got some water. We're going to add water. This is, now you want to add the water slowly too. I'll just let you know that. And I'm sorry if that sounds very loud and annoying. This is a 2-cup measuring cup of water, and I'm adding in maybe an 1/8 of a cup at a time, stirring it up. Add a little bit more, maybe about 1/4 to 1/2 a cup. Stir that up. Not forget about our garlic butter. Sometimes you gotta multitask when you're cooking. Finished up the last of that. It's okay, it's a little bit chunky, that's okay, because it's going to smooth out as I'm stirring it, as I'm whisking it. I'm going to add another cup of water, so it'll be a total of 3 cups of water. Alright, now that's ready for some spices. So, add some pepper and salt to taste. Comes out quite slowly. The salt comes out a lot faster, so I'm gonna add quite a bit of salt because this is completely from scratch. You need quite a bit of salt. And after a little bit, you're gonna wanna taste it. So it's okay, you can't really mess it up at this point. You're better off adding too little than too much. This is oregano that I'm sprinkling in. You don't want too much of that. I got basil that I'm sprinkling in. Make sure that I'm putting the right one in. Stir that up again. We got a little bit of cumin, not too much. And a little bit of paprika. That was too much. So I'm going to just take a top layer of that off. And then that's okay. All right, now we're just gonna let that cook a little bit. Oh, we forgot one important thing. We need our greenery in there. And this is just to give it a bit of color and a bit of, make it a little bit healthier. And I just used the wrong spoon, oops. You want to keep your garlic butter spoon separate from your sauce spoon. They've got different things in them. Well, we're gonna stick a lid on it and we're gonna just let that simmer away. Now we're moving over to our garlic butter. Our garlic is cooking a bit too much, so I think it's pretty well done. So we're gonna add some garlic powder to this. Now you can add a fair amount. I added in about maybe 1/4 teaspoon. We want a bit of parsley in that. Again, just for a little bit of color. And we want a little bit of pepper. Not a lot. And we're just gonna stir that up. And then we're gonna just remove that from the heat. Next, I'm gonna take a break. Figure out my music and my stupid tripod that's a pain in the butt. But you know, if I ever get monetized, I'll get a new one. I might get a new one before then. You won't believe what just happened. Seriously. Right after I said I might get a new one before then, it broke. The friggin' leg broke off my damn tripod. So, we'll figure this out for the rest of this video. Somehow. Ugh, piece of shit. Okay, so we'll try to make this work without a tripod. Let's see how we can do. I'm gonna turn the oven on because this will be baked at the end. We are gonna start on the pasta. So, making pasta from scratch is actually really easy. The initial recipe calls for 3 cups of flour, but I always find that's way too much, so I cut that in half. So I go with just 1.5 cups of flour. And 2 eggs. So you want to make a well in the middle of your flour. So now the eggs, whoops, really well mixed in. And I just had egg go flying, egg and flour. Now you want to get your hands dirty. Let's get your hands right in there and start mixing. And you're gonna need to wet your hands as the pasta feels kind of dry. Once it's, you know, the textures kind of mixed together, you'll add a bit more water. Just a little bit with your hands. So I'll show you how that's done. Now it's dry and quite crumbly again. So all we do is just add just a tiny bit of water in our hands, right? And then mix it again until our hands dry, and then you can do it again. And you're gonna keep doing that until the pasta is at the right consistency. So I am just gonna skip this because I don't have a tripod, and I did make pasta in my other video cooking Paris lasagna, so you can check that out on how to really elaborately cook, like make this part of the pasta. So thank you. We got a funky ass angle, but we're gonna work with it. All right, so pasta. Now that I've got the pasta all in basically the same consistency, it's ready to roll out. And I did start some water boiling for the pasta to cook. It's just a large pot of hot water with a little bit of olive oil and a little bit of salt. So you want to break your pasta up into about 4 pieces. You could do them smaller if you want, but I like to do this quickly, so, well, as quickly as possible. It takes about half an hour, honestly, to make, for me to make fresh pasta. Coat it with flour. Start rolling on the first setting. If you don't have a pasta roller, I used to do this the old-fashioned way with a rolling pin and just put a lot of effort into it. So if that's what you gotta do it. With a pasta machine, each number makes it thinner, so I roll out each piece and then I drop the number down to make it thinner. So my pastas are rolled 6 times and it gets this thin after 6 times. Now all that rolling, since I started filming, it has been 7 minutes and 35 seconds. So that really didn't take that long. I am going to cut this in half because they're quite long. I could, you know, cut them all perfectly square and stuff, but really there's no point. Just in half because you want long noodles. We'll move it over to the fettuccine one. So these are our fettuccine noodles. Beautiful. And then here is our Alfredo, and it's ready to go in. So from the time that I started recording to now, it is 11 minutes and 28 seconds. So when you're putting this in the water, you don't want it to all clump together. You want it to kind of separate while you're putting it in the water, and you're gonna want to stir it with a pasta spoon very, very frequently. This isn't like regular processed pasta full of fillers, so beautiful. We'll let that cook. You start boiling again right away. I did shut off the sauce. We're ready to add the chicken to it because it's all shut off now. Stir that up. I did add more salt to it, but other than that, that's the only other thing that I added. Halfway through cooking, halfway through like the simmer, I did a taste test and added more salt, and that's when you add anything else that you might want that you think is missing. So that's good to go. It's our garlic butter just sitting there cooling, looking funny, but that's okay. That's the way it looks at this stage. Okay, so with very clean hands, freshly washed, I am getting a casserole dish ready. Normally I would use paper towel for this, but because world's in crisis and paper things are like hard to come by nowadays, I'm rationing and it's not a necessity. So what we're gonna do is add a little tiny bit of oil. This is just to prevent stuff from sticking, like there's hardly anything in here. And instead of paper towel, we're just gonna use our clean hands. Make sure you clean them before you do this though, please. Spread that around nice and good and set it aside and wait for your stuff to be ready and wash your greasy hands. So when it comes to the garlic butter, it is time to strain it. I was gonna use a strainer, but then I thought, no, I'm gonna show you how to do the spoon strain method because not everybody has the right kind of strainer. And what I'm doing is pushing the settlement that's on the top out of the way so that I can pour and not get a lot of the garlics and spicy. Like the, sorry, the garlic and herbs and stuff. You don't want to get that in there. You just want the flavor from it in your butter. And you want to let some of that parsley fall in. And if you're having trouble letting the parsley and stuff fall in without getting a lot of the foam in, you can scoop a bit up. It's okay to have a little bit of stuff in there. So most of it's left in the bottom of your pan. That was just for flavor. This is what my butter looks like. So there's not a lot in there. There's basically a bit of parsley. All that foam and settlement from the top of it. Most of it is not in there. And so we're just gonna leave that sit and cool. So when your pasta looks about like this, floating nice, and you stir it, and it floats and it looks kind of puffy, that's when it's done. If you're not sure, always taste it. I still always taste my pasta. You don't want it completely finished, but almost, because it's not going to take long in the oven to finish. So at this stage, it is time to strain the pasta. I do have a strainer in my sink here, so I was able to strain the pasta into it. And then we're just going to take that pasta and put it directly back into our pot. Okay. From there, I don't want to burn myself. I'm going to add our sauce. Now, you don't want to add too much sauce. You may have made too much, so be mindful of that. But you do want plenty enough, so I will add it all. Apparently, I didn't make too much. That's good. When you're eyeing it up, you never really know. Take your spaghetti stir thing, pasta stir spoon, mix it all really well. Okay. And then we can add it to our prepared pan. I think this is a little too full. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to prepare a bigger pan. So I'm just going to plop this straight from here into there. So it's not much of a difference, but it does give us a bit of room to add some cheese and not worry about boiling over. That would not be good. So I'm just gonna add some cheese that I shredded up earlier. This is maybe about half a cup of cheese, something like that. I'm gonna sprinkle it all over, and this will only actually end up going in the oven for about maybe 15-20 minutes. When the cheese is nice and broiled, it'll be perfect. So that's it. That is the pasta. I am going to show it to you when it's all finished. I'm gonna make some garlic toast to go with it, just on regular bread using our homemade garlic butter. And in the meantime, while that's in the oven, I am going to whip up these dishes because that's just, I don't want to wake up to them. So we'll see you in a few. Bye. And so I did forget to mention too that this chicken that I'm using for this dish was originally, I roasted a chicken with potatoes and carrots. So that was our dinner last night, and then tonight I'm taking a breast from that and dicing it up for the chicken Alfredo. Then the rest of the chicken that's left is basically like the darker meat and the stuff around the bones and all that. So tomorrow I'm going to be making probably a soup out of that. So that'll be my meal tomorrow, and that's 3 meals out of one $10 chicken. Very, very affordable. So now that the garlic butter is all nice and cool, this is what it looks like. Nice and ready to spread. So I'm just going to stir it up and then spread it on the toast and cooker. Looks delicious. So I am not doing a mukbang. I just want to do one taste. One taste. Beauty bite. That is really good. That is really good. Really, really, really good. That is amazing. Worth every minute of it. Bye.